Now, granted, Ison doesn't strike me as a pervert, so the thing I was thinking that Stark may have heard about it and wanted to go see it for. I don't know why, I guess maybe I'm thinking of Stark a lot like Jiraiya from Naruto. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, and we're back with another episode of Frieren, Beyond Journey's End. Once again, we come back as we normally do with notes and a board. So let's go ahead and look at that board first thing. Where we have the board changelog, where I added the Hero of the South and Schlacht on the line between the distant past and the journey, because obviously Frieren's old memories are from before, I guess, the time she was picking flowers in that one specific forest twice. I don't know. Anyway, I think that's where it is on the timeline of events. I connected them with a red line and then marked them both as dead. I also connected the Hero of the South to Frieren with a white line. I added Graf Tarak in the current arc and his great-grandfather in the Journey arc. I connected them together as family, tying the great-grandfather to the party and Graf Tarak to the new party. And then I added the Sword Demon to the present arc and connected them with a red line to the party and then marked them as dead. As I said before, not much I can do about the location board until, I guess, we get a new map on screen, in which case I can just kind of hand edit that image to have reflected the new things. Otherwise, I don't know where anything is except for that one place that's marked in the Northern Lands. Alright, that said, on to notes. Something else I noticed in the opening, the second sequence of the party over the years, they make Himmel increasingly further away from the camera to emphasize his shrinking with time. So that the final appearance he has at the meteor shower isn't that significantly smaller from his previous appearance due to perspective. It's a really nice touch. Also, Werble throwing up over the ship's edge follows what we heard about already. Then the statue of the Hero of the South and the sword, both of which we saw last episode. Which then leads me to believe that goats are going to be a thing. A dwarf and his drink in maybe a flashback. Two priests in a church praying over a number of dead bodies. I want to say that one of them looks like Genau from the tests. The other could be Methode. Same hairstyle. She's kneeling down. She passed the test, so she could be up here on her own. A guy watching a party go over a bridge. There's a guy drinking a warm drink over a snow expanse. Not a lot of context for most of these, but now that I'm realizing they are the events of, I guess, maybe half of a season, was worth paying attention to. I think that despite only being introduced as someone that lived and died in this episode, Schlacht is an interesting character. I mean, the Hero of the South is interesting, but also human. We know how he thinks, why he might do what he did. Demons are still a mystery to me, despite all the info that we've gotten on them so far. Why a demon that could see the future, just like the Hero of the South could, would still choose to meet their end in such a way is interesting. Maybe the message is that you can't fight fate. I know that the generous and uplifting message would be that he made the path for Himmel to follow, but what if the episode's overall message was that we just can't fight what fate has in store for us? Both Schlatt and the Hero of the South saw their futures, and despite anything they did, they were still drawn to it regardless. That the Sword Demon was inevitable, just like it had occurred so many times before, that the message to Himmel was the same, that he'd accomplish the mission, but not find what he was after, something that Frieren would pass on without realizing its significance to Himmel, thus his sadness at it in the moment without any emotion from her. Not that we'd expect any from her to begin with. At first, I was thinking that the back scratcher spell was totally worthless. For one thing, Frieren has a party with her. She could just ask someone or do it herself, as she's elastic enough to do that. Then I thought about how it's harder to do in old age, but thought it was still worthless given how little she ages. But considering it for a moment, it would be like an outside force was scratching your back, like a spell for a free back scratching without having to do any effort or be socially awkward. Yes, please, I'll take one myself. Interestingly, Frieren says that they can use magic to polish the statue because it's bronze. I don't remember, and again, failure of note-keeping, if they had gotten a spell in Season 1 specifically for polishing bronze, which seems like a spell they totally would have gotten, or if there is a type of metal that they couldn't interact with that is being suggested ahead of time now. Obviously, I'm not counting the crystals or whatever from Episode 1. I'm just inferring that, like, if you had a Superman story and you start mentioning lead for some reason, or not even that mentioning lead, if you start mentioning that, oh, that's not, that's bronze, I can see through bronze, then I'd be asking, is there a metal you can't see through? Whenever we talk about heroes, I not only think about Kraft and his party statue, but also the hero's sword that Himmel couldn't pull. We saw that sword is still in the cave, presumably waiting for whatever need for a hero is for its destiny, right? That something else might be coming along the way that requires a hero. Now, I believe we already saw Stark fail to pull it, so could it be time-based? Like, maybe something happens in the north eventually, on our way there, or coming back from, and Stark goes back to the south, pulls the sword? Or, I guess, if that was the case, then Himmel could have come back instead of getting a reproduction. I don't know. Maybe there's somebody we've yet to meet. So, 7 Sages of Destruction. Frieren and gang defeated 2, and 2 fled or went missing, while the hero of the south defeated the remaining 3. In the shadows, we see Aura the Guillotine up in the front, and we know she died. I thought the big guy in the back may have been Basalt the Throne, but I don't think he was a sage. Funny enough, the figure could be Qual, who Frieren may considered having dealt with by freezing in time and then having killed him later. However, he is listed as the Elder Sage of Corruption, not Destruction, so a bit iffy there. And of course, now we know that Schlacht is on the dead list. I wonder if Frieren is counting Aura as having gone missing, since she showed up again in the present. If so, then there should be still 1 Sage of Destruction left. I wonder if it's possible, and I don't recall if I said this during the reaction, that the hero of the South and Schlacht could have been the same person. That's the reason no one ever found the body. They never really killed each other. They saw what was coming and chose to get out before the fall of the Demon King. That could also have been sad news Himmel got, though, again, any news he got would have come from Frieren or been filtered through Frieren. So, if she doesn't know that, then either I'm right or it isn't true. And obviously this does go against my other theory, but, I can have multiple theories at the same time, why not? He'll change your life is so the strongest 4 words I feel like have been said in the entire show. I know I kind of argued against it in the reaction, but that was only based on the feels. Himmel didn't change her while she was with him, so it seems anyways. Himmel changed her after he died. He's changing her now. She's putting herself out there, exploring, noticing things about the world and herself because of the things Himmel said or did on their journey together. He doesn't have to be present to change her. His memory changes her. Frieren doubted the hero of the South's vision because he mentioned being forgotten in the shadows of history. Well, if he and his counterpart could see 1,000 years into the future, then there's still time to be forgotten. And not for nothing, we put all of those memories into one basket. If this town should fall, then who would be left to remember him? We've got at least 1 sage left on the runaround. Who's to say, at some point, that things don't get dark again, and we have a Demon King's forces pushing south once more? I just think if you think the guy can see the future, then obviously if he says the shadows of history will have forgotten me, then maybe if the fact is there's only 1 town that remembers him, he's giving you the hint. Anyway, those are my notes from last episode. We've seen the board, nothing left to do but hop on in and see what episode 3 brings for us.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
And as always, I have to talk over the opening. You know, I really should have, and in consideration, maybe something to do in the future. If I have notes about the opening, I should probably talk about them in the opening, you know? Although at the same time, what would probably happen is that I would think to myself, take screenshots of the opening so that they know about the parts you're talking about. And I can't show screenshots of the opening while the opening is playing, right? I would have to be really on time to point at the screen and indicate when something is happening as it's happening. Now, granted, I'm talking over the sound, but you can see that I'm talking about with the Himmel getting smaller. See? They push him forward for perspective's sake to make him shorter as time goes on, so that when he's like 50-year-old man, or he's older than 50, but you know what I'm saying. What, 70? Either way, when he's old man and short, it's just a matter of him getting smaller already. Granted, I don't think they did anything clever with him being dead because he was just off screen at that point. But still, it's a very good motion to emphasize what's happening. He goes from a massive figure in the frame to out of frame. It was mountains. It's also kind of funny to think we're getting further away from Himmel's home country to conceivably a place we'll see him after death. Oh right, I forgot. This is going to be Hot Springs episode. Or at least half of it will be.
Na, Frieren. もうだいぶ歩いたぜ。村はまだかよ。確かここら辺のはずなんだけど。
I mean, it's been 50 years. 79 years? Oh, the goats. It's gonna be the goats, isn't it?
懐かしいですな。村ならもう30年も前に廃村になりました。
A year before Himmel's death, this place got abandoned.
冒険者も立ち寄らなくなりましてね。
残念ですね、フリーレン様。人間の村は油断するとすぐになくなっちゃうんだから。こりゃ次の町まで温泉は我慢だね。
次の町までどのくらいなんだ
？1週間くらいかな。1週間後までお預けですか。
I find it hard to believe that Frieren doesn't have a spell. Stark can crack a mountain. If there's any more water down there, I'm sure Stark could crack it open.
これまた30年以上も前の話ですが。
エトバスさんの人だね。ご存知なのですか？それこそ残っているかどうか。相当な山奥だからね。素直に次の町を目指した方が早く温泉にありつけると思うよ。どうしたんですか、シュタルク様？
エトバスさんの人、どこかで聞いたことがあるよ
うな。I mean, obviously, we haven't.
あ、思い出した。フリーレン、俺行ってみたいかな。エトバスさんの人。
シュタルク様。でもね、シュタルク。あそこは人って言っても労力に見合わないと思うよ。だって。
せっかくここまで来たんだから行ってみようぜ。
I'm thinking it sounds important right now, but it's gonna turn out that Stark heard something stupid, and he wanted to see it for himself. You know, it just occurs to me, who would Stark hear something about this from? Ison. What would Ison have said about this hot spring? Now, granted, Ison doesn't strike me as a pervert, so the thing I was thinking that Stark may have heard about it and wanted to go see it for. I don't know why, I guess maybe I'm thinking of Stark a lot like Jiraiya from Naruto. Which, to be fair, is more of Sign's personality than it is Stark's. Sorry, I said a Stein, right?
そろそろ人の近くだよ。フリーレン様、なんだかあまり乗り気じゃないように見えます。まあね。
Does she
ケンネ
ever?
ルたちとも人を目指してエトバッサンをさまよったからね。もう帰りたい。
俺も。
ヒンメル様たちはそんなところにまで行っていたんですね。
I mean, for Ison to have gone from I want to go home to telling Stark about it has to be something.
ちょっとだけだって言ったじゃないですか。
絶対何かあるんだって。僕の直感がそう言ってる。
だから言ったのに。
もう引き返せんぞ。
特に人までの道のりは難易度が高い。
I mean, I guess it's what it's like if you're not the main character of the JRPG. You're just following the hero. Okay, I guess they just let that marker hang down.
早速お出ましか。やるよ。
Hydra?
竜か。久しぶりだな。
あれは竜じゃない。どちらかというとトカゲなんかに近いタイプの魔物だよ。
トカゲ。
随分と気が立っているようですね。縄張りに入られた魔物は大概そうなるよ。あの三つ首は同時に切り落とさないとすぐに再生する。
マジかよ。
Well, see, Stark being surprised about it, I guess, isn't the thing that he heard about. I almost thought that since Frieren knew it was here, that maybe Eisen told him about a creature he didn't defeat. Well, except you didn't tell Stark that plan. So I feel like you're gonna destroy two of its heads and leave one around that Stark doesn't know to destroy. I think Fern understands the problem. Okay, never mind. I guess I thought they were gonna make a thing of it.
二人ともよく頑張ったね。
着いたな。
大変でしたね。ね、次の町を目指した方がマシだったでしょ。
Again, we've seen that Stark can crack the ground. Although I guess there wouldn't be anything to crack down there. I guess, again, a hot spring would already be the water rising to the surface.
浅いな。
これじゃあ足湯ですね。だから割に合わないって言ったんだよ。
でもいいんじゃねえか。これならみんな一緒に入れる。
Again, Ison must have said something.
そうだね。
I mean, this is someone's episode specifically. I'm looking at all of you out there.
ああ。
ところでシュタルク様はどうしてここに来たいと言ったのですか？
師匠から聞いていたんだよ。
エトバスさんの人はまさかの足湯だった。とても労力と割に合わん。実にくだらない冒険だ。だが不思議なものでな。仲間と共にしたくだらない冒険はどれもかけがえのない記憶として残っている。俺はあの景色が忘れられん。
Well, there you go.
シュタルク様はご存知だったんですね。
きっと師匠と同じ景色が見たかったんだ。確かにいい景色だ。
Alright, that's your heartwarming part of the adventure. Now for whatever serious ass shit that happens in the back half.
帰り道も過酷ですね。
You two can fly. Stark is the only one who needs to make this climb down.
やっぱり労力と割に合わないかも。
Cube. Like I said, be a heist, right? German B looking thing tends to be a double S sound.
若いのに温泉が好きなのね。
Well, there's our Himmel. Oh, there's a goat. I called the wrong kids. Do not clip that.
フリーレン様、この町に着いてからずっと温泉に入り浸りですね。
たまに出てきたと思えば魔法店だもんな。
あと2日は滞在するそうですよ。
まあフリーレンにしては控えめかな。
厳しく言いましたからね。明日は丸一日暇になってしまいますね。
そうだな。
Time for another date.
これは武器屋にでも行くか。斧を研いでもらわないと。
だから私、明日暇なんですけど。
Come with?
構ってください。本当に気が利きませんね。
At what point do I draw a purple line between these two, if I haven't
そん
already?
な言い方しなくたっていいだろ。いつも当たりきついんだよな。よし、たまには仕返ししてやるか。そんなに構ってほしいなら明日デートしようぜ。あ、これヤバいパターンだ。死んだな。
わかりました。では明日。
See, I can't remember from season 1 if they've called it a date before. As I say, though, there's probably some disappointment in for one of them. But Stark said date, and she's going to treat it like a date, and then Stark isn't. Well, now someone's gifting the fuck out of this.
ってんのかな。俺どうなっちゃうんだろう。
I mean, if memory serves, she probably just doesn't know what to do exactly the same as you don't.
無理な相談してごめん。
何も無理とは言っていないよ。私はお姉さんだからね。乙女心もバッチリだよ。
本当かよ。
No, you don't trust Frieren for advice on this shit.
フリーレン、俺にデートしようって言われたらどう思う？
シュタルクも大人になったね。嬉しいからご飯おごっちゃうかも。
やっぱり参考にならねえよ。これ完全に孫と遊びに行くおばあちゃんの感覚だもん。
Yeah, back to the hag
おばあちゃんっ
comment.
て言ったな。クソババアに続いて2度目だ。3度目はないからね。
何そのカウント怖い。ちなみに3度目はどうなるんですか？
泣きわめく。癇癪を起こした私は怖いよ。勇者ヒンメルでさえ恐れおののいた。
That's why they're standing there watching for as long as they are.
3日3晩ずっと泣いてる。
怖い。めっちゃ怖い。それがお姉さんの所業なのかよ。
To be fair, 3 times. Keep pushing.
それでフェルンとデートするの？
やっぱなしって言える雰囲気じゃないからね。
I really hope I'm wrong about last episode's notes, where I put down that I suspect that Stark might not survive.
下見に行こうか。え？多分わかるかも。好きな場所。
Ah, the name of the fucking episode.
まずは市場で何か食べさせた方がいい。お腹が空くと機嫌が悪くなるから。屋台は外せないね。フェルンは小さい頃からつまみ食いが好きなんだ。
I mean, this is valuable fucking advice. Sorry, I don't know why I'm saying fucking so much during this.
フェルンは焼き菓子が好きだけど、気分によって変わることもあるから。スイーツのお店はいくつか押さえておいた方がいい。
The real point of this isn't that Frieren is helping Stark. That how well she knows Fern. Although I feel like we've already done this back in season 1.
こういう物静かな広場も選択肢の一つだね。
なんだよ、フェルンのことよく知ってんじゃねえか。すごいな、フリーレン。
いや、何も知らないよ。私はすごくない。すごいのはハイターなんだ。ことあるごとにハイターはフェルンの好みを話していたからね。
Yeah, but you've experienced
お
them.
腹がすくと不機嫌になるのも、つまみ食いが好きなのも。
This is like the shopping episode back in season 1.
気分によって好みが変わるのも、どれも全部ハイターが教えてくれた。ハイターは私にフェルンの親代わりになることを望んでいたみたいだけれども、私は結局あの子の好きなものをほとんど。
I mean, I thought you'd been a parental figure to her this whole fucking time. Maybe the opinion of you.
フリーレンは多分ちゃんと親をやれてるよ。
そういえば旅に出て初めてフェルンの誕生日を祝ったのも。
Exactly, that's what I'm talking about. That was the episode. Maybe your own opinion of yourself is the most unreliable opinion of you of all.
カウントを1回分戻してあげよ
う。ありがとう。
Don't ask which one. You'll invoke it.
Frieren様、 デートに誘われてしまいました。
Going to mom for ask for advice.
こっちもか。いや、なんでも
I mean, I think I said this. That she was just as unsure as Stark was.
デートをしたことはありますか？あるよ。ですよね。
Technically, she has.
あるんですか？
She's been on one super long date with Himmel.
デートって誰と何をされたのですか？ヒンメルと一緒に迷い猫探しに出かけた魔道具店の店主に頼まれてね。それって依頼をこなしただけですよね。それはデートと呼べるのでしょうか？あのね、フェルン。気心の知れた異性と二人きりで出かけたら、それはデートになるんだよ。
Sometimes the confidence with which she says a thing, and then the look on her face at the same time.
そういえば、ザインともデートしたな。もういいです。
Ah, you're ruining it. Hey, appearance of Flame, though.
おやすみなさい。
Didn't think we'd see a flashback to her this season. See, I didn't know what I was waiting for there. Because I thought we would be getting the date itself this episode. But that we just went back to her own insecurity, which seems to be the same as Stark's. Because I think they set up that, like, Fern knows what she wants or has been thinking about things for longer. But at the end of the day, she is almost exactly like Stark when it comes to not knowing what the hell's going on. At the same time, the moment that we kept with her, like, I didn't know where we're going. Because I was looking at the clock. We didn't have much time left in the episode itself. I have other thoughts about the episode. I'm waiting until afterwards. Because I don't want to interrupt the next time on and leave myself half thought. I love Millet's endings. Their songs so fit the feel of the show. It's perfect. Yeah, I mean, it's a fairly alright episode. I guess I'm going to get into that when I get into the after episode thoughts. It's just the element of it's kind of a thing we've done already. Frieren knows Fern. Again, they even invoked the episode. It's heartwarming, but at the same time done.
他の誰かの故郷も守りたいんだ。
That's not a big hint. I don't know if we're actually going to do the date on screen, but it seems like either might get that in the front half of the episode, and we might have seen some of that there in the text, and then the back half of the episode is going to be something different. I kind of forgot that that's how Frieren episodes work, but, here we are. That we get one half of the episode as one story, and the other half of the episode is a different story, unless it is a overall sort of thing. Like, God, I can't remember the name of the other graph that we encountered, but the one that had the demons in his town that captured Frieren and all that other stuff. So it's not impossible to get a one episode story that's all together. It just happens to not tend to be the thing. Other than that, the thing I wanted to bring up, Frieren is a heartwarming journey filled with emotion that I feel does an amazing job at what it does. But something that's happened since I watched Frieren is that I've started watching Dandadan. Obviously, I've already finished how much Dandadan is out there by the time of this recording. But Dandadan does something amazing with its character interactions that I don't think any other show that I've watched really has has really managed to come close to doing. Now, I don't know how to put this out there because I know people are already starting to type up an argument. The idea here is that these character interactions, believable, totally. They're great. I like watching them because they elicit the emotion that they want to out of the viewer. But when Momo and Ken talk to each other, or they get into misunderstandings, or whatever the fuck they're doing, right? It feels so fucking natural. It feels it flows perfectly. It has the right energy. Now, granted, they're completely different stories. Momo's not dealing with the shit that Frieren is dealing with. And maybe trying to evoke those emotions requires a different speed, a different energy. That's perfectly fine. It just feels to me now that the kind of thing that I get between these characters isn't the same, but I feel like I wish that they were the same. I don't know how to put that. So yeah, I guess, I don't know. There's obviously a lot more shit going on here than there is over there. I would not say that they're on the same level. I would put Frieren above Dandadan because Dandadan is also, at the end of the day, really combat-y, jokey sort of thing, whereas Frieren is dealing with more serious emotions that are harder to invoke. Although, actually, I don't know. They often say that comedy is harder to write than drama, right? I guess because drama is the natural condition, whereas comedy arises from situation. So when Frieren pulls off its drama well, is that easier or harder to do than when Dandadan pulls out its comedy well? I also expect that comedy is more personal. You have to find something funny, whereas drama is more expected. We all know what drama is because we don't want it. I mean, most people don't want drama in their lives. So when it happens, you don't want it. So it's a more common condition than specific forms of comedy. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being unfair now, trying to compare two shows that had no business being compared to in the first place. I just brought that up out of nowhere. I think I'm just trying to compare the element of Stark talking to Frieren versus, say, any character in Dandadan talking to, say, Momo, right? The element that there's a different energy there, there's a different draw in. I don't know. This was a really good episode for Frieren conversationally. They really emoted the fuck out of her. Just like I'm not going to be able to do her face, but they really gave her an energy this episode that I don't feel like she's typically had. Yeah, it's a good episode. It's a good episode. Again, my only drawback here is that the first half was telegraphed pretty hard that it was going to be an Eisen thing, something Eisen said to Stark, and that the back half felt more like a repeat of, I guess, two different episodes, really. There was the Fern birthday episode, but I also believe there was a previous Stark date-ish episode that we also already got. So, from that perspective, I don't imagine this is going to be one of the strongest episodes of the season. I'm still happy that we got it, though. So, that said, I think that's going to be everything for this episode. So, once again, I have been Theta. This has been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?